This is the Volkswagen Amarok, Australia's most powerful ute, and so far it is the only European counterpart in the competitive dual cab segment. So we've come to Germany to see if it truly is heavy metal enough to rock it with its rivals. And to put that claim to the test, we're going to take it to hell and back. Volkswagen was the first European brand to jump on the dual cab ute bandwagon, with the Amarok first arriving in Australia in 2012. And while it was lauded by the critics for its car-like handling, it didn't find favour with too many tradies or adventurers, as a result of only having a 4-cylinder turbo diesel engine. Well, that all changed last year with the updated Amarok, which strutted to the front of the stage with a grunty 3-litre twin-turbo V6 that produces 165 kilowatts and 550 newton meters, higher outputs than any other ute in the class. It does come with a pretty steep price tag though. The range-topping Ultimate variant we're testing here costs from $67,990. Well, our first extreme test for the Amarok is out here on the German autobahns, where we're using all of that grunt to see what it can do. And I'd have to say it is doing it effortlessly. That 550 newton meters of torque is literally just loping us along at 180 kilometers an hour. We've topped out over 200 k's an hour, and this thing, while it is a little bit noisy at that speed, feels pretty safe and secure. Go the Germans. It does it so easily that I reckon this just isn't hellish enough. Well, this is the Nürburgring, the most punishing piece of tarmac in the world, and that is no exaggeration. A racetrack more than 22 kilometres long, designed to torture even the fastest supercars in the planet. Welcome to Green Hell. The Nürburgring is in the Eifel Mountains in western Germany, a couple of hours south of Hanover, where the Amarok is built. While its primary purpose is being a racetrack, it is used also by most car makers to fine-tune the handling of their machines before they go on sale to the public. It is also open to punters regularly, acting like a one-way toll road, with each lap costing 25 euros or around 40 bucks. And you can drive anything you like, including an Amarok, as fast as you can. Right, there's the Green Hell. Can the Amarok live up to it? The world's most grueling racetrack. Not surprisingly, the Amarok isn't the fastest machine around here, but it is as impressive as it is hilarious. We're getting past left, right and centre. Look at this. This is an Amarok on the Nürburgring, for God's sake. Its high riding stance and its ladder frame construction and boxy body aren't ideal for track work, but the total integration of the package is greater than the sum of its parts. Sure, the front tyres wash wide in the slower corners, and the steering isn't all that pin sharp, and the brakes do need to be treated with some respect, but the Amarok doesn't feel any different to a regular family SUV when pushed to its limits. According to our unofficial timing, we clocked the bridge to gantry run on the Nordschleife in 10 minutes and 43 seconds. Just a tad slower than the fastest cars to ever lap the ring. Wow, that was so much fun, and it's got to be some sort of record, at least for a grey German dual cab ute powered by a twin-turbo V6 engine driven by an Australian. Perhaps that was taking a bit of poetic licence, but it has proven to be extremely competent, stable and sure-footed when pushed to its limits. With the Nürburgring in our rear vision mirror, we continue our journey and cross the border into Luxembourg, and then 15 minutes later we're out the other side into northern France. And it's here where human endurance was stretched to its limits, on the Western Front in World War I. And we've stopped here just outside of Verdun in northern France to pay our respects, because a century ago, during one of the fiercest battles of World War I, this area was as close as humanity came to experiencing hell on Earth. It's such a sombre place, knowing that hundreds of thousands of men died here. But it is also amazing to see how it is regrown into such beauty with lush, verdant forests. However, you're never far from a reminder of war, with the trees covering a maze of trenches and hidden fortresses. Looking at the countryside today, I cannot fathom what it would have been like 100 years ago. It must have been hell. A little way down the road from Verdun, we travel through the Champagne region and past Res, where one of the first ever Grand Prix was held back in 1926. But we skip the bubbly and a visit to the old GP track and head for Paris, late on a Friday afternoon. Perfect timing for a run through Parisian peak hour. There's motorcycles tearing past the mirror at 100 kilometers an hour while we're standing still. It's like they have a death wish. But I'm also envious of them, because it has taken more than 3 hours to circumnavigate the Peripherique, or ring road. Still, the Amarok is a comfy place to sit with its leather-lined chairs, high seating position, and the latest multimedia system with Apple CarPlay. Okay, so we've found out the Amarok can handle the world's toughest racetrack, but now, with the sun falling into the horizon, we're off to see if it can survive the most grueling motor race in the world. Well, I've proven the Amarok is a great car to live with, but can I live in it? To test that theory out, I'm going to have a sleepover at Le Mans. The Le Mans 24-hour is a hellish test for those out on the track, particularly the cars themselves, which roar around the 13-kilometre track non-stop at speeds up to 340 kilometres an hour. It's an amazing race, mixing some of the world's best drivers in cutting-edge hybrid prototypes like the winning Porsche 919, with, at the other end of the driving spectrum, amateurs peddling race prep sports cars such as the Chevy Corvette, Ferrari 488, Ford GT and Aston Martin Vantage.
It is quite literally the most punishing race in the world for both man and machine, but you have to be a bit of a masochist to be a camper too.
Well, Hotel Amarok isn't the most luxurious place to stay, but sleeping in the tray of a ute has long been a rite of passage for Aussies, especially country kids at B&S balls. Le Mans might be a bit classier than an outback shindig though. However, there is also plenty of evidence it might not be. You don't have to be such an idiot to get off the beaten track in the Amarok. Uniquely in this class, it doesn't have a traditional low-range transfer case typical of most four-wheel drives. Instead, it has a more SUV-like permanent all-wheel drive transmission and uses the latest in electronic trickery to get it up, over and through the toughest of terrain.
Well, this is what we've been searching for. Welcome to Hellfest. Let's Amarok and roll.
This is one of Europe's largest music festivals, dedicated to heavy metal and held in the small French village of Clisson in the Bordeaux region. We'll see whether it either bangs heads with the headbangers or whether it can riff with the riffraff. Strangely though, it blends into the background among a crowd of hardcore metalheads. Although the Amarok is tough, it has nothing on this lot. And like the Amarok, they don't mind a drink either. In the 1500 Ks or so it's taken us to get to Clisson, we've consumed an average of about 9 litres per 100 Ks, slightly over the Volkswagen's claim of 7.9 litres.
Well, this has been another adventure of epic proportions, and we've taken the Amarok literally to hell and back.
After 3 days and more than 2,000 Ks on the road, the Amarok is certainly holding up better than me after we've put it to the ultimate torch test. We've maxed it out. I'll claim we've set somewhat of a Nürburgring lap record. We've found some of its off-road ability, and we even camped out in it. And at the end of it all, the Amarok is still as fresh as a daisy. It truly is a tough truck that deserves to be among the modern motley crew of popular dual cab utes.